Hey, everybody, at Shit Talk Reviews. I am John. In the room with me is Derek, and we have a special guest with us today. We're not entirely sure how we got lucky enough to grab a slice of his time, but we did. Our guest today is a guitar monster, incredible songwriter, having played with Children of Bodom, Norther, Naildown, and now Crownshift. Please welcome to Shit Talk Reviews, Daniel Freyberg.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure, man.
Welcome,
Fantastic.
Daniel.
It's great to get a little bit of time with you. Congrats, first and foremost, on an epic album. This album is monstrous. Those of us who have watched our stuff before, listen, know we're all huge fans of it, and we are very excited for you. I am certain this is going to be a very, very big player for you. So well done to you and all the guys.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's always, stoked to hear such a feedback from you guys.
One of the questions that I had just right out of the gate, it's been documented that this was a kind of a Crownshift was an incubated thing over time with four friends. How long has this gone back, and how long did these songs take to craft? Because they're huge. I mean, they're monster songs, and it's great musicianship. So it's not something that just was spun up quickly, I'm sure.
No, it wasn't really quickly. I think we have to go all the way back to 2011 when me, Jukka, and Heikki, we played in the same band called Norther, which you guys mentioned. So we already then, when that band was, coming to its end, we already back then talked about that someday we're going to do something together. And during the years, we had these chats back and forth, and there never was really a good moment for that because, all of us got into different bands. And so it kind of faded, but then it just relighted some point again. I think 2018, 2019, we started to talk about more seriously that now we should really do this for real. And we've been doing this a little bit here and there since then. Of course, there was the pandemic. I think the whole world was on hold in that time. So didn't really make sense to announce or put out anything back then. So we were just like, we're going to wait a little bit more.
When did the songwriting for the material that made it to the album, when did that really start in earnest for you?
I mean, those songs are like between from a long time. I think the oldest is probably 2013.
Oh, wow.
All the way to 2019. So yeah, it's they're from the long time. And usually how I write is if I'm like writing something new. So I got this cool new riff or cool new melody. And what usually happens that I probably get stuck at some point. So I'm like, damn, I can't come up with anything right now. So I'm going to my riff session to check out if there's something good, in my back pocket.
Yeah.
So
well, you just answered my next question, which was if you could walk us through your writing process, if it starts with a riff or just a short notion and then you expand it from there, or are you a writer who you have the entire track scoped out ahead of time, and then it's just a matter of bringing it to fruition on tape? And it sounds like you start with an idea, a riff, and build from there.
It goes pretty much part by part, and I don't really have the whole song like right away in my mind. Usually what comes first in my mind is the chorus or main riff or melody, and then it's gonna just build up from there. But yeah, like I was saying, sometimes I visit my riff session and see if there's something, because I record all the time riffs and melodies, but they're not like whole songs, they're just parts here and there. So I visit that session, I see, and if there's something cool I maybe did, I don't know, yesterday or last month or 10 years ago, they're like riffs from a very long time.
So, how has your creative process evolved over the years? Have you always written in that style when you're writing?
Pretty much, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, it's always been that way?
Yeah, pretty much. Of course, the tools have changed a little bit, but the core is pretty much the same. And I usually like to, when I'm having the song in my mind, I usually like to do a demo where I'm just programming the drums and then record guitars and synths or whatever it needs, bass. So I get a good picture, and the bandmates also get a good picture what's coming. So it's kind of easy for them to learn the song as well. They already have the parts here, there, but of course we're going to tweak it as a band from there on.
Did you have content that maybe didn't fit Children of Bodom that you could put into this band? And this leads into my next question. Was it a cognitive thing to create music that's genre breaking, introducing prog elements into thrash and making it accessible? Because that was, for me, I think this record's important because it is accessible, yet it's heavy, and it does sit across multiple verticals, which is absolutely brilliant, dude. And I can't say, we can't say enough good things about it. But was this done on purpose?
You did say a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. You're
welcome. We actually, people asked me that before, and we actually never had a conversation about what kind of music we're going to do, because, we are old friends. We know what kind of music we like, and they know what kind of music I write. So there was never really, we didn't need to have that conversation. It was just whatever came out. Of course, it needs to be good. And the quality needs to be there. But as far as go like genre breaking, that doesn't really matter. And I think it's just a positive thing if you can actually sound a little bit different during the album.
Amen. Yeah.
You recorded this at your studio, is that correct?
All except the drums.
My question regarding that is how I have to believe that it was a much more relaxed process recording in your space versus time booked at another studio. Do you have a preference now? Working under a tight deadline versus having the time to just kind of sit back and let the ideas flow versus, oh shit, we're on the clock, we got to get this done right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a benefit to being on a clock like that?
I think there is, actually. You tend to work more if you have deadline. As it's pros and cons, man.
Yeah.
Deadline, you get things done. No deadline, then might be get done. So
what will your next project be? Will you aim to track at home next time as well, or will you go back into somebody else's room for it?
I think I'm gonna do parts in my home, like synths, because I always do that anyway, and there's really any reason to use commercial studio for doing synths, at least in my opinion. And but yeah, recording all by myself, it's a lot of work, and I just realized that during this album that maybe next time I could use help. So yeah, and that makes me also work faster and harder. When you're in your home and home studio, it's like you can take a break and you can do this, a little bit that in between. So not that efficient.
Oh, sorry, apologies. You had mentioned synth. I love the synth. I love all of your work and the synth that you've done. Is there going to be a synth player live? Because you have some live shows coming up here starting on May 15th. You're hitting parts of Europe. And so the question I had is there going to be a synth player on stage with you, or is that something that you program and you do yourself live?
No, we use backing tracks for that, because honestly, if we would have a keyboard player, even he couldn't play this stuff, because it would need 2 or 3 keyboard players. Yeah. And if we had a keyboard player, then he couldn't do the live shows properly, and he couldn't do the studio properly, because I want to do the keys in studio, because they're in my head, and I'm pretty used to do those. So there's no really need to redo it or hire somebody to play it, unless something very specific is needed, like a really realistic piano thing or something. So that's what we decided on early stage, that we don't we're not gonna have a keyboard player, dedicated keyboard player.
Having been in bands with a live player on stage like Norther, a live keyboard player on stage, and you've been around and in the game long enough, what are your thoughts on the evolution of things like touring and being able to run backing tracks versus the days when backing tracks just weren't really an option? The technology wasn't there. Is it a benefit to you being lighter on your feet when you're on the road, not needing as many people, as much gear, so on and so forth? Do you miss those days? Where do you fall on that?
I don't really have a preference for that. It depends. Of course, it's less people if you use backing tracks, but it shouldn't be the reason really use backing tracks. I mean, the bands I've been playing who had a keyboard player, that was totally playable when these backing tracks or programming wasn't really a thing. So it's a little bit different, but because I've been always working like this, it just didn't make sense to have a keyboard player.
Yeah,
because he would get bored.
Speaking of equipment and gear, I'm a gear hound myself, and I know back in the day, as of 6, 7, maybe more years ago, you were an Axe Effects user. When it comes to tracking in the studio, are you a stacks of amps and pedals guy? Do you like to live in the modeler world with the Axe Effects instead? What's your process there?
I'm kind of a hybrid guy. So I track everything without a cabinet. Mm-hmm. I use a modeler just for the cabinet. But I use real preamps, 2 preamps. That's really important part of my tone. And that is something I haven't really got good results with modelers. And so I'm relying those. And I use a little bit EQ before the preamp and after the preamp. But after that, it's just plugins and simulation. So yeah, I do have pedals, of course, but I'm using wah pedals mainly. But on this album, I didn't use any other pedals, I think. Nope.
Yeah.
So
I know you're an ESP artist, have been for a long time. Obviously, they make incredible gear. Any other gear that you absolutely love that is maybe a little out of the norm that people might be interested in hearing about?
Well, yeah, ESP guitars. I love those. EMG pickups. I tend to use a lot of parametric EQ before the amp. That's probably something many people don't do. They usually use something like Tube Screamer or similar to tighten things up. But I like to use parametric EQs because you can really shape your tone with that. Yeah, but I don't really probably have any super secret tricks to offer, unfortunately. But
listen, inquiring minds want to know.
John's an asshole, and he sits in his studio and he's trying to thieve the world. So please excuse his selfishness. I'm gonna spin it back to Crownshift a little bit. Tommy Tuovinen, have you known him for a long time as well?
Well, yeah, not as long as the other guys, but long enough. We go back probably 15 years, and he was probably the first guy I had in mind when we were starting to think about Vocalist, because he can do pretty much anything, and there isn't really guys like that in Finland or even in the world. Finding a good singer is still a fucking hard.
We listen to a lot of music here, and I'm just going to say this about Tommy. You're absolutely right. So many bands that get sent our way, even on Nuclear Blast, the singer just isn't it. And I was playing Crownshift's album yesterday for my daughter, who's 12, and she's into Billie Eilish and a lot of the mainstream pop stuff. And she said, Tommy that guy might be the best singer I've ever heard. And again, she's 12.
He's an animal.
He is an absolute beast. And that, to me, I mean, the music is incredible, But it would be a shame if you didn't have a guy like that can do what he does. And there are so few people that stand above the rest from singer standpoint. And I was just curious at how long you've known him, and did you celebrate when he agreed to do the band?
Well, we actually had, with him also these talks back and forth many years that we should someday try to do something together. And then I finally, called him and, okay, we have these songs now. Can you come over and we try to do, I think it was If You Dare. That was the first song we nailed. And it was just a match,
Yeah.
I called the other guy, search is over. We have our guy. Yeah.
I love that track. It's my favorite one, and I love his honesty too with the lyrics. Is betrayal, and we've all felt that pain before, and that was another thing that that came across with Crownshift, and I brought this to the guys, to Dave, who's not here, and John. What I enjoyed about your music is not only is it technical, and again, you use the term genre breaking, it's real. It's very, very honest. And it comes across. I mean, I felt his pain in the recording, and just it's more of a comment than it is a question. But wanted to give you that because a lot of times you'll hear musicians that the authenticity doesn't come through in the recording, and this is a very authentic record.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not really sure how you kind of defined authentic, but I'm glad it sounds authentic,
When I say authentic, the emotion of the performance and especially vocally, I think it probably goes back to the singer, and there being so few people in the world that can be, Tommy is in a upper echelon, and I've been reviewing stuff going back, to the early 90s. And he just is, just a talent that you found, but he also is able to get the emotion to portray into a recording. Some guys just go in there, the robotic, and it's
right. Okay.
And so,
Gotcha.
I can't wait to see you guys live. I hope you make it to the US. I'm not coming to Finland and Belgium, unfortunately, to see you live on the 15th on. But how's the live material sounding? Is it matching the record? Are you feeling good about it?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. We just, I just came from the rehearsals, and we have our first show in Wednesday. And yeah, pretty excited and stoked about finally get back on stage, because it's been quite a big break for me. Long break for me, and first time with this new band, new songs, new everything, new gear also. And
don't tease without telling me what the new gear. No, I'm kidding. Any chance of US tour dates at some point?
I would love to come there, because it's been like 5 years since I last time toured in US with Children of Bodom. But realistically, I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. But we're going to try. We're going to try. Let's see.
Well, we look forward to that. And you've got places to hang.
Yeah. Where are you guys located?
Yeah,
we're in South Florida.
Yep.
Florida.
So
all right.
Yeah, the land of heat and humidity, where everything wants to kill you.
Close to Miami?
Yeah, not too far. We're on the other side of the state, but directly across. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What is your musical origin story? What started all of this for you? How old were you, and what kicked it all off?
I was 9 or 10. I saw Guns N' Roses on TV. The song was their music video of You Could Be Mine. That was it. I was like, I love this music, and I want a guitar. I don't know what the hell hit me, but it just made an impact, And that's what got me into music. Of course, then came Metallica and some 18s hair metal like Motley Crue, Rat, Alice Cooper. And it took me a little while to get the more heavier stuff with the growly vocals. And I think Death was the first one.
Oh.
Death, Symbolic. album, which is still one of my favorite.
Oh man, is it me or does Chuck not get enough credit, man, for the material he created with Death? Do you agree with me?
I don't know. I mean, in here he's a legend. I don't know if he's like underrated there or something, but I don't think he's underrated. I think the guy is a genius, and yeah, I can't really praise Chuck enough.
Well, it's interesting that you say he's
some really.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you say that he's a hero there, which I'm sure is accurate. Metal here in the U.S., especially the heavier stuff, is just not as mainstream, but it does seem to be more mainstream and more widely accepted in Europe than it does here, which is really unfortunate because there is so much really good stuff out there that is just it's a cultural thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but you have so much more people there, so maybe there's a little bit spreading or something. But maybe some of the bands that come from the stage are bigger here and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
It might be. I'm not sure. Yeah,
we're friendly with some bands. Unearth in Boston. I've known Trevor for years, and he, his payday is going to Europe. I know Sal Abrascato from formerly of Typo Negative and Life of Agony. And for a long time, his payday was going to Europe and doing festivals with Life of Agony. Unfortunately, I think the U.S. is getting better. I went to a metal fest in Philadelphia as a beer and metal fest. It was packed. And some beer and metal fests, 10 years ago to even 20, I mean, they didn't exist 20 years ago. So we're figuring it out. I think the U.S. is catching up to Europe, especially.
Yeah, that's awesome. And don't you have that festival right now in Daytona?
Correct.
Yeah. What was that called? I don't remember.
Rockville, I think. I think that's something like that.
The lineup looked pretty sick. So
it's welcome to Rockville, and yeah, these festivals they are starting to pop up in the U.S. We're getting there.
That's great.
We're getting there. We're gonna do our little part.
Yeah. What was the first substantial band you were in? How old were you, and what was the band? Maybe not a band that reached any big success, but a band that you played shows with, maybe recorded your first record with, that kind of thing.
My first record, I think it was Naildown, the World Domination record. But of course, we had some bands that didn't go anywhere when I was a teenager. And some of them didn't even have.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the first band, that you and your boys or whatever, got together and thought, oh shit, we're a real band. What was that band?
I don't think it even had a name, or that kept changing like every week. But so those were like not that serious stuff, But I think Naildown was like more serious stuff, the first more serious stuff, and we made 2 demo tapes or CDs, and the second one got us a record deal.
That's impressive.
It went all right, but at that time, but just we didn't get that lucky in the long run. So, but
yeah, what's your musical guilty pleasure?
I don't know.
Everybody's got one. What's yours?
Synthwave.
Okay. We'll allow it.
Okay, good. I'm not being banned from the show.
No, you're welcome. Hey, listen, hit us up anytime you want to join, talk about what you're into for music. Feel free. And actually, let's ask that question. What are you digging these days that's not your own music?
What's that?
What are you into these days that isn't your own music? Like what bands are you really enjoying?
Well, probably the same one I did Choi like 10, 50 years ago. I'm not really following that much new band, or if I hear some new music, I don't remember what band it was, because Spotify randomly just, suggest me something, and then I hear it, but I don't check the names anymore that often. But I'm going to stick my old heroes what I actually mentioned before, but then a lot of Gothenburg metal, In Flames, Soilwork. Those are great bands. Something out of the box. Well, Dream Theater, Symphony X. I love those rock metal bands. And even that Liquid Tension experiment that the Dream Theater guys had. Wow.
Great. That was great.
Those 2 records were awesome, you know.
Yeah. Outside of the musical arena, what is it that really turns your wheels? Is there anything that you're super passionate about? Do you like to work on cars? Do you like to garden? Is there anything that you just really are into that is out of the norm, or people would find out of the norm?
I don't know. I don't really have time to get so into it. Anything else?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like cars. I like watching Formula One, but I don't really have like a serious passion for anything else. Just trying to do a little bit, you know, exercising, workouts, and normal stuff. Yeah.
John doesn't know what that is. He's very lazy man. He sits behind a mic and has great pipes. That's about it.
Yeah.
So let's put a bow tie on this, because it's called Shit Talk Reviews for a reason. I got to shit on.
Of course it is. Yeah.
So let's put a bow tie on this, and you know, I guess the question is, people are going to love this. The album came out yesterday. I know they're going to love it. Is this a multi-record deal with Nuclear Blast? Are you on the hook for a number of records, or is this a one-off?
It's a multi-deal.
Great.
We're needy.
Yep.
We can't wait for the next one.
Me neither.
Yeah, we're stoked, man. Yeah. We're so glad that Crownshift's going to be around for a while. We're so happy for you, the band. Cannot wait to see a ton of success. And listen, you got friends in Florida. You need a place to do laundry. You got it. We'll open our doors.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll hit you up next time.
Certainly.
You know, when it's my laundry day in Florida. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a real treat for us. And please pass our regards along to the rest of the guys. We wish you nothing but success. Hope the tour goes great. And let us know who we need to send an email to get you over here in the States.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
Hey, thank you so much for having us. And take care, guys.
Absolutely.